Hello students, here is Ashu Gupta, Assistant Professor. Again welcomes you all on the behalf of the Indraprasth Law College. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the diplomatic agents in the chapter of international law. Basically, in the chapter of that diplomatic agents, diplomats are the persons who reside in foreign countries as the representative of the country by whom they are dispatched. They act as a link between the country who dispatch them and by whom they are accredited. Therefore, they perform the act of diplomacy, which in international law means by which the states maintain or establish mutual relations and carry out their legal or political transactions based on their foreign policies. Act of diplomacy may be performed by the head of state, government, Minister of Foreign Relations, or by diplomatic agents. If we talk about the law regarding the diplomatic agents, the practice of sending and receiving diplomatic agents is followed by the states since ancient time. In ancient times, doots were sent from one rajya to another. However, in ancient time, the practice was not uniform, nor they were sent permanently to another rajya. The practice of permanently sending the diplomatic agents started from the 17th century. By the second half of the 17th century, permanent legation became a general institution, and certain rights and duties, almost identical in nature, were provided to the diplomats. The Congress of Vienna of 1815 for the first time codified customary rules of international law on the ranks of diplomatic representatives. The institution of diplomacy continued to develop after 1815, and after the establishment of the United Nations, the task for codifying for the law relating to diplomatic agents was given to the International Law Commission, and the Commission prepared the draft article and submitted them to General Assembly. The Assembly convened a conference in 1961 and adopted Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. If we talk about the classification of diplomatic agents, you may see that in the terms of international law, diplomatic agents accredited to a state differ in class. The Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961 under Article 14 divides diplomatic agents into three categories or the classes, such as the first one is ambassadors accredited to the head of state. The second one is envoys or ministers accredited to the head of state. The third one is charges d'affaires accredited to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And besides these three classification of diplomatic agents, there is also one category which is also described here in the classification of diplomatic agents, that is the consuls. So these are the four categories interpreted into this chapter, namely ambassadors, envoys, charge d'affaires, and consuls. Now, let's talk about the functions of diplomatic agents. What are the main functions of the diplomatic agents? Functions of diplomatic agents are determined by the rules and regulations of international law and municipal law of the states. Article 3, Subclause 1 of Vienna Convention of Diplomatic Relations 1961 lays down various functions of diplomatic agents, which are as follows. The first one is representation. Diplomatic agents represent the policies and the beliefs of the state by which they are dispatched to the state where they are accredited. The function of representation is primarily entrusted to the head of the mission, and Oppenheim says that diplomats are the mouthpiece of the head of his own state and the foreign minister for communication to be made to state where they are dispatched. Then the second function is protection, wherein diplomatic agents protect the rights and interests of sending state and also of nationals within the limits allowed by municipal law of respective state. The limit of diplomats is not prescribed by the international law but by the municipal law of the state. The third one is negotiation. Negotiation is the most important function which is performed by the diplomatic agent. Generally, the head of diplomatic mission negotiates on various aspects on behalf of the sending state with the state to which they are accredited in order to maintain a friendly relationship. Diplomatic agents are required to communicate the outcome of the negotiation to sending state from time to time. The next one is observation. Diplomatic agents are required to observe those events and happenings which take place or which may take place in a state where they are accredited, especially those which may affect the interest of the state by which they are sent. After making observations of the events, they are required to make periodical reports to the government of sending state. Now the next one is promotion of friendly relations. Diplomats are required to promote friendly relations between the sending state and the receiving state. And the last one is consular functions, wherein the Vienna Convention lays down that diplomatic agents can also perform consular functions which may be allotted to them from time to time. So these are the main basic functions given under this chapter of diplomatic agents. We will meet soon again with the next lecture. Thank you very much.